Welcome to the Bushido Gang. Ladies and gentlemen, how are y'all doing today? It's AttackonSamurott, and welcome to my discussion vid about the Pokemon Urshifu for the Pokemon Sword and Shield OU metagame. So, with the rise of Pheromosa, of the Pheromosa suspect test ending, I want to talk about another Pokemon that is kind of on people's radar, and that is Urshifu. So Urshifu Single Strike is the dark version of Urshifu with access to Wicked Blow, and is just able to really hammer through a lot of mons in the metagame. So I'll be talking about what I think about it, and if I think it is banworthy for the meta, or in this meta. And just give my thoughts about it, and also I'll give my thoughts about the metagame in general too, while I still have some time. So before we get started, please make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, join my Discord Bushido Gang, and subscribe for some more content on the channel. Also follow me on my Pokeamino and check out my Smogon profile. All those links will be down in the description. It's trying to reach my subscriber goal of 400 by the end of 2020. We are, as I'm recording, we're like 2 weeks away from that. So would appreciate if you guys can help me reach that goal. But yeah, we're going to talk about Urshifu. So what is Urshifu? What does Urshifu do? Well, Urshifu does one thing, and its main job is to be a wall breaker. So with the combination of Wicked Blow plus Close Combat, it can overpower a lot of teams in the current metagame. It can also just break through a lot of walls in the metagame too. So there are a couple answers to Urshifu, being one Clefable, and also Tapu Fini, and even defensive Pex as a defensive pivot, and also Magearnet as well. These are like the main four that you'll be seeing as ways to deal with Urshifu. There are also some other ones too, like Buzzwole. Buzzwole is kind of it's actually a pretty good check, because it can take on Wicked Blow, and it can also take a close combat as well. And I think even some variants of Urshifu could opt to run Aerial Ace. I think they might have, when the other big threats were in the way, like Zygarde and Karen Black. I think there were some instance of Urshifu using Aerial Ace, but I might be very wrong about that. But again, Buzzwole is actually one of the better checks to Urshifu, because it can take Wicked Blow plus CC very reliable. Reliably well. It can also recover from the damage too with Roost. Plus or with Roost or Drain Punch, either one. It can also bulk up on it too. But yeah. So I actually want to first let me get my words together. So these are the sets that Urshifu has been known to run since the Isle of Armor metagame started. These are the common ones. There are also some other ones too that have been starting to pop up, like Protective Pads Urshifu to break through helmet users, and also break through Iron Barb's Ferrothorn. So, and also break through stuff like Garchomp too. Defensive Garchomp can get messed up pretty badly by Wicked Blow from this thing. So yeah, there are there are creative ways to deal with or to use Urshifu to be able to wall break through teams. But these are the two that are the most common. This one is more common on on hyper offense builds, while this one is more like a standard set that you would see on Urshifu a lot of the time. So its coverage options, not coverage options, but its moveset is Wicked Blow, CC, Sucker Punch, and Poison Jab. Sometimes if you're running Bandit, you don't have to go Sucker Punch. You could probably go with U-turn to get some Swish Initiative going. Sucker Punch would probably be better on variants like these, especially on on HO. And most HO teams already have a way to deal with Clefable, so you could probably just go Sucker Punch over this. Yeah, you could do that if you want to. But again, sometimes on Choice Bandit sets, you could go Sucker Punch or U-turn, depending on your preference and how much you actually need pivoting on your team. But again, let's just ignore that. But outside of the 5 mons I just mentioned, that can check Urshifu, everything else in the metagame can't. they all get one-shotted or two-shotted by Wicked Blow, which is just incredible. This thing is the wall breaker. This is the wall breaker that everyone has been begging for since I don't know when, but this is the wall breaker that people have wanted for a long time. Like a choice band user that doesn't care about intimidate users. And it can also break through protection. Like, it's actually scary how strong Urshifu is, man. Like, there's nothing in the metagame besides the 5 I just mentioned that can switch into Urshifu reliably. Also, you could add Tangrowth as well if you want on this, for some defensive checks. Like, actually, I guess technically this should be, like, I should probably move this down. These two are more defensive checks. Or I guess, yeah, more defensive checks than anything. Tangrowth kind of counts, but if it gets status, then it's kind of dead. Well, with Buzzsaw, if it does get status, like burned or something, then it can still take it on. But again, these 3 are the big like checks to it. Yeah, like I said, this thing hits incredibly hard in the metagame outside of the 5 I just mentioned. It can just break through them. It can just break through everything pretty reliably. Even some dark type answers don't want to take. Even some dark type switch-ins from Wicked Blow don't really want to take. like another hit. Like, especially if it's something like a set like this, or even going back to a protective pad set. It can switch up moves. Like an Urshifu that can switch up moves is also pretty threatening too, because it can just hit whatever comes in on the switch-in. So for example, let's say you go for Poison Jab on Clefable, right? Well, actually that's a bad example. Let's say you go for well, no, I guess that's the best example I could come up with. I guess like if you go for Wicked Blow on something like Magearna on a switch-in, you can still close combat it if you can switch up moves. Well, if you're choice banded, you can only do up to 44% on Magearna, which is still a lot anyway. So you can always switch out on whatever the Magearna does and go into your fairy resist. So yeah, I'm actually going to show you some calcs real quick on some of these defensive mons. So let's see. So we're going to go to Clefable first. So Clefable is probably like the premier check, since it can take Jab and even Wicked Blow very well. This is without the ban too. Without the ban, it does nothing. 39 to 46%, that's nothing. It can just easily soft boil up that damage, or even just Moonblast and kill it. But most of the time you want to keep your Clefable healthy. Also, some of them opt to go with a Rocky Helmet to take on the other physical attackers in the metagame right now. As right now, the metagame is becoming more physically oriented. So again, you have ways, you have, I can't even talk. You have this as like your, it's like your defensive pivot in a way. Since it can just take those physical hits very well, and then can just like soft boil all that damage off, and still be able to chip your opponent down, and still be able to chip down whatever comes in from Urshifu, or whatever Urshifu does after Wicked Blow and such. So let's go to the choice band actually and just see the damage. So the damage from Jolly, Choice Band, and Urshifu, it does, with Wicked Blow it does 32 to 38%, which is incredible. And then with Jab it does like 58 to 69% to this thing. Now if we make this adamant, which some Urshifu can go adamant, but a lot of players prefer the speed on Urshifu. Because being able to outspeed base 90s, especially like the birds too, is actually pretty huge. But yeah, as you can see with an adamant set, Wicked Blow can still do a lot of damage to it. But of course, it's not going to be enough. It'll always be able to potentially, recover off the damage. But if you can put Clefable into a position where you can still you have to put it into a position where you can bait the Clefable. So I'm trying to break it down pretty easily for you guys, but I'm having kind of a difficult time doing it. Well, basically, if you have like a way to kind of lure Inclefable, then you might be able to deal with it with Urshifu in a way. Usually like a steel type can be a way to or I mean not a steel. Maybe like Future Sight. Actually, Future Sight plus Urshifu is a pretty good tool because that does because with Future Sight that does allow you to get a lot of damage on Clefable to the point where you could actually like jab it or even CC it if you get it in the range for jab or CC. So that's Future Sighters, like again the like the Slowbro family can actually work very well paired with Urshifu. Yeah, again, without Future Sight, jab only does around this much. And again, that's only if it's adamant, and Jolly almost does like 70% to it, which is still a lot, don't get me wrong, but you have to play pretty smart around Clefable in order, to keep the momentum going. Alright, so the next is Tapu Fini. So Tapu Fini runs some sets like these, but there's also the Draining Kissing. There's also the Draining Kiss set, which is starting to become more common. But yeah, Choice Bandit Urshifu does a lot to this thing. Again, Wicked Blow still does a lot, being 37 to 44%, and then Jab can do up to 78%, which is again a tremendous amount. So if you get this thing like around, if you could just like pivot around with Urshifu, if you can pivot in Urshifu, then you can potentially like wear down the Fini. So if you have like U-turn users, or even like Volt Switch users, like again Magearna, or even not Tapu Koko. I guess that kind of counts, but like just ways to pivot around with pivot around to get Urshifu in, then you can jab it down and be able to remove the Fini. You could also run like Teleport too if you want to, and that can allow you to get like a slow teleport off on this thing. Again, I'm really like kind of giving like some bad examples, so I do apologize for that. But we're gonna be looking at a game real quick, and I'm gonna show you guys like what Urshifu actually does and why I do think it is ban-worthy. Next we're gonna look at what's another mon. The other one I mentioned, Magearna. So Magearna right now isn't really running like a lot of defense. So Wicked Blow does a lot to like offensive Magearnas, and CC can do a lot as well. I think even Adamant can almost kill it. Adamant almost kills it. So if you get rocks up, then this thing is pretty much like dead, if anything, or close to dead. So again, just incredible how hard this thing can hit in the meta. The one thing you do have to realize about Urshifu is that not only does it have like really good physical bulk, but also like good HP and good physical bulk, but you do have to be aware of its special defense. It doesn't really take special hits that well, so it can get worn down very quickly by even some special attacks. Like Skull can do a lot to it. Doesn't really want to take too many like neutral hits like flamethrowers and such, so you want to try and like preserve this thing as best as possible, since it is your wall breaker on your team most likely. Again, going back to the damage on Urshifu and what it can do, close combat does 78 to 92% if you're adamant, while if you're Jolly it does around 71 to 84%, which is still a lot. And if you Wicked Blow on this thing, then you put it into a position where you could CC again. So yeah, and Magearna is usually free to just set up on Urshifu anyway because they're never going to stay in. So yeah, because Magearna can always force out Urshifu like all the time. So yeah, if you have like a steal or just some hard hitter to wear down Magearna, or at least like force it out, then you could potentially like bring in Urshifu again. It can Wicked Blow whatever comes in on the switch in. Again, I need to show like a more physical example. Again, I will show you that game soon. But again, like Magearna is starting to become like more offensively based. So there's there's also the AV. The AV set is still around, but it's not like as prominent. There's Specs right now, and there's also the shift gear the Shift Gear Iron Defense set or Shift Gear Calm Mind, one of the two. Sword Power set like that. Like those sets are still pretty common. But yeah, again, the damage output from Urshifu is just way too strong on this thing. So it can reliably like 2 KO it. Or I mean, it could 2 KO it pretty well. And if you have rocks up, then well, that's pretty much like a guaranteed 2 KO. And this is pretty much a guaranteed 3 KO as well with Wicked Blow. So just yeah, this thing is just incredibly like like nothing really stops you from clicking Wicked Blow, honestly. Or even clicking CC. Now let's see. Let's look at Toxapex. So Toxapex, I'd say is a pretty good defensive wall for Urshifu. As you can see, Choice Banded Urshifu does around 51 to 61%, and also Toxapex right now is like more physically oriented. As you can see, if you get rocks up on Toxapex, then you know Wicked Blow can just 2 KO it, which is insane. But when you have you know the Rocky Helmet to deal with, though, you don't really want to take that chip. Like that 12% isn't really going to be in your favor. But still, the damage output is incredible, though. As you can see. So while you can Wicked Blow, there's always going to be like some Mon paired with Toxapex to take on the Wicked Blow hit. So that will usually be like Clefable or Magearna, which is why you see that paired with Toxapex a lot. So yeah. Also, most Toxapex aren't really running like status. They're mostly running. Well, I mean, yeah, most of them don't really run like Tonic or anything. They're more likely to run like Knockoff and T-Spikes, if anything. Wow, actually, okay, hold up. I don't know why I'm seeing Haze here. Haze is like an old set. You don't really see Haze that much. So I do apologize for that. I didn't mean to say Haze wasn't that. You don't really see status on this thing. You usually see Toxic, or like T-Spikes. T-Spikes is more likely on teams that have like Spectre or just like some like sweeper in the back. So T-Spikes are pretty good on teams that, you know, benefit off that. But yeah, again, like I said, Wicked Blow can do a lot to this thing. And if you can knock the Choice Band off of Urshifu, then Wicked Blow only does up to 41%, so which means that you can always just wall this thing if need be. You could also Scald it and potentially burn it too. And as you can see, like Scald does 23 to 27%, so that damage can rack up a lot, honestly. Especially if you get a burn too. If you get a burn on Urshifu, then you pretty much wall it completely. Yeah, I think you do. I'm pretty sure you do, even if it does get burned. Because then if it does get burned, yeah, it only does like 17 to 20%. So, yeah, you never want to get your Urshifu burned. Yeah, like I said, those are like the main answers to Urshifu. That can take it on pretty comfortably. But again, the thing about those four is that they're locked into being defensive. Is that their main job is to be a defensive pivot. They're locked into this position. They can't really do much else. And especially when you pair it with Pheromosa too. When you have Pheromosa around, and also Urshifu, then these mons are forced to be like physically oriented. So like I said, well, I actually lost my train of thought. So I'm just gonna have to go. Let's just go to the game real quick, and I'll just show you guys an example of what Urshifu does. So this was a game that happened for the OU circuit, yeah, for the OU circuit tournament, or circuit championship. So this was this game was by these two players, Titania and Insult. So Titania has a more, I guess you'd say, like bulky offense team, while James has more, while Insult pretty much has like kind of the similar thing. He has this double region core going on, and also some really cool stuff right here with this Specs Pheromosa, and also this Hydreigon to take on, you know, potentially Spectre and all that jazz. While Titania's team, he's got this AV Magearna, and he also has like this Choice Scarf defensive Landorus, or some kind of like defensive Landorus with Tonic U-turn and then like Defog. And he also has Feeny right here being like a kind of like an Antimon, being able to being able to nature's madness through the walls and also remove items and such. Then you have you have the Dragapult here, which can like pair like status things with TOA plus Will-O-Wisp and all that, and then just hex through. You got your Ronker with Heatran, and then you have Urshifu being the wall breaker. So what Urshifu's job is, like I said, is to be the wall breaker. And how Titania actually did this was that he was able to wear down Insult's wall by taunting the Tangrowth. Tangrowth was like his only defensive wall to deal with Urshifu. So the fact he was able to get the taunting off on, I believe, he got it off very early. He got it off on turn 8. So he did it on, or I mean, he defogged first, I think. Oh wait, no, the Moltres defogged. My fault. The Moltres defogged the rocks away, while he pivoted into Tangrowth on the Lando. So the fact that Chitani was able to get the taunting off on Lando means that Tangrowth is not a very reliable answer to Urshifu now. As I can show you the calc right now, Choice Banded Urshifu to Tangrowth does. Okay, well, hold on. Let me put the choice band on that. Let's put the choice band on that, and let's actually look at the damage real quick. So yeah, it does 45 to 53%. That is some ridiculous damage, and that's without rocks too. Without rocks, it's still a lot without rocks, but with rocks it's guaranteed. And especially with the taunting up too. Yeah, it's not looking too good for Insult right here. Yeah, the poison right there, paired with Wicked Blow. Yeah, it's not going to be a good time for Insult here. So I do believe that he gets it in a couple turns. So he Volt Switches there, gets some initiative going. Both their AVs are knocked off. Goes into Lando as he can just Earthquake here, I think. Or he could just U-turn here. I think he U-turned, or he just no, he U-turned here, right? No, he defogged to get rid of the rocks. And now they went for the defog here, he can U-turn here. So okay, never mind. It wasn't. Okay, so my fault. He wasn't actually. Wait a minute. I just made a mistake. For one, I didn't realize that his I thought it was actually Choice Scarf, so that was my fault. He might have been like Boots or something. But yeah, the fact you're able to get the U-turn off right there, get off a lot of damage. Now you can bring in Urshifu, and Urshifu can now, or okay, not yet. I know you brought it in like a turn ago. I think it was. Maybe I missed it. I probably missed it. No, it was right here. Okay, so you brought in the Urshifu here, which means that he's forced to either go Tangrowth or go into the Hydreigon, which he goes for that. He goes for the Wicked Blow, and as you can see, it did 47%. So the fact he was able to break through the Tangrowth with not only the was able to break through the Tangrowth with the taunting damage off on that or able to break through it with the taunting damage. Wicked Blow does like 47%, so that'll force his Tangrowth to switch out, and he has to go into something else to potentially take the next hit. So, or he just sacks Tangrowth, which I do believe that Insult just lets the Tangrowth go since he can't do much else with it. So he does let it go. And now that Urshifu is taking down a wall, it means that now Titania has a little bit more leeway with not only his own Urshifu, but with other mons on his team. So again, like I said, his job is to break through the wall. So now that it's broken through Tangrowth, it can still break through everything else now. This is like his only reliable answer to it. But yeah, now he's forced to switch out, and he has to let something else take the hit from a Pheromosa, which is Pheromosa. Spoiler alert, is Choice Specs. So he has to go into something else to take the hit. But again, I just want to show you an example of Urshifu's potential, what it can do. So yeah, actually I think I might be able to show another turn, because he did bring the Urshifu in again, and he was able to knock out the Hydreigon, which opened up for his Tapu Fini, and also for I think it might have been the Heatran, because I know you Magma Storm with this at some turn. But again, that's not important. What I'm trying to show you is that Urshifu is able to remove these walls pretty easily, with the support, of course. But still, even without support, as you saw the calc, this does Tangrowth is not a really great check to it. It does a lot. It can take the hit. It can definitely take the hit, but still, it's like a roll, and the roll isn't really too good. It isn't really too great in Tangrowth's favor. And also, like, what was his other switching for Urshifu? If he did switch, who could he switch into to take the wicked blow? He couldn't switch into Hydreigon. Hydreigon, well, I don't remember if his was like Choice Scarf or anything. It probably was based on his team because he needs like some speed control here. So this could have been like Choice Scarf Hydreigon. I'll probably just skip and just show. Let's see. So skip. Okay, I think he was. Let's see. Did he U-turn here? I think he did. No, he Earth Powered. He might have been like the standard, like, you know, nasty plot set, or not nasty plot set, the defensive spread. So let's see. Okay, brings in Urshifu. So he brought in Urshifu there and brings in the drill, and now he's forced to sack the Hydreigon here. So he sacks it here, I think, to the CC. So yep, there you go. So there goes the Hydreigon, and now that Hydreigon's out the way, like I said, like I already mentioned, Feeny has more leeway to break through these guys here, or break through these three here. So Feeny becomes a threat, and so does everything else. And also, not only that, but also the Urshifu anyway. As Urshifu can just freely like wicked blow through everything too. So so yeah, hold on, let me charge my laptop up. My thing's dying. So what am I trying to say? What am I trying to say about Urshifu? I'm trying to say that this thing is just incredibly powerful. Just a very powerful wall breaker that you can't really do much about. Like like you're kind of forced in a position where you have to sack something to get some kind of momentum. So let's see. I don't think this was it. I'm looking at the viability rank because I want to show like the top mon on the tier right now, and also why let's see. I don't think this is the one. I think I might be a little bit off. I think it might have been this one. Hold up. It was like recent. Or recent date. Yeah, here it is. Okay, so this is the viability ranking. As you can see, Pheromosa is at the top right now, being the premier fighting type. Now, if Pheromosa does get banned, which is most likely to happen, then Urshifu will be the premier fighting type again. And I mean, it sounded like it already was, but it'll just be like the dominant one again, and it'll just be able to, you know, do what it does best and just like break through what it needs to break through. But yeah, with the right team support, Urshifu just becomes like very like unbearable for even its checks. Again, like with the right amount of like pivoting and such, and just wearing down these walls right here. With opposing mons, or I mean with the other mons that you have on your team. Like again, going back to the Chichania's game. Well, honestly, I wish he had a fairy type here. That way, I could actually like show a little bit more about this. Shoot, I did have like another game here, or I did have another example with the opponent having like a fairy type here. I think it might have been in Finch's game. But you know what, whatever, I'm not going to really worry about it too much. But again, what I want to say is that this thing, is that once Pheromosa is gone, Urshifu will be a little bit more, you know, problematic, but it won't be like overbearing like Pheromosa is right now. But I do think that in the future, or in the near future, it will get suspect tested. Like, I know it's not really a good base to go off of, but the National Dex did ban Urshifu a while back. Or, I mean, the National Dex metagame did ban Urshifu a while back. Don't know, I mean, and that was with, like, that was with all the stuff that was there last gen. Again, being Megas, being Z-moves and everything. Like the fact that Urshifu was able to get banned in a metagame with Megas and Z-moves kind of says a lot. it kind of says a lot about this thing. So again, I do see it getting eventually banned. But yeah, like don't get me wrong. Like, there are still ways to play around Urshifu, not just with these checks. There's also faster mons that can deal with it too. Again, for example, Zapdos can deal with it, and Zapdos can easily like force it out with Hurricane, or something else. You also have Torn 2, which can Hurricane that as well. You have Choice Banded Rillaboom, which can actually 2 KO it. You have like, there's just a lot of ways. I mean, there are ways to deal with it, but It's just that there's nothing that can switch in on it reliably besides the fairies. So it just kind of makes the meta feel, I guess, constricted a little bit. Not like too much, but it does make the metagame feel a little constricted. Like you have to have a fairy. It feels like you have to have like some way to deal with this thing. Is what I'm trying to say. Like you have to have some way, like some kind of switching, any kind of switching. As long as it's like Clefable, then you're probably fine. But even still, like you have to have like more than that. Like I don't know. It's very weird. Like this thing really is an issue though. I do have to say, like it is going to be an issue in the time coming. But yeah. Again, I just wanted to touch upon Urshifu and just give my thoughts about it. But do I think it is ban-worthy? Yeah, I do. And yeah, I do think this mon does deserve a suspect test. Again, nothing really switches into it reliably, and the mons that can switch into it are, you know, mostly the ones I just mentioned. Just these guys here. These are the ones that can switch into it decently well. Buzzwole, I probably put a little bit above. Actually, I'm not gonna put it above Toxapex. Like this is just like a good like answer. But the other ones here can check it decently well. Mostly Clefable and Feeny. Granted, Clefable's a little bit better because he can still take jab. But he can't take it on the switch in though. That's like guaranteed. He can't take it on the switch in. Yeah. Let me know what you guys think about Urshifu. I know my thoughts about it were kind of off and on. Like I wasn't really like too direct with you guys about how I feel about Urshifu, but again, I do think it is ban-worthy. It's just too damn strong. It just feels too damn strong to me, you know. Again, good speeds here, good like good attack stat with 130. So Wicked Blow is like no joke to anything on in the tier, and same with CC as well off that thing. Plus you can't even protect with this thing, or you can't even protect if you have or with Urshifu around, because you know it breaks through protection. Granted, the only monster really run protect right now are probably Clefable. Well, I guess in the past when he used to run the wish teleport set. And I guess even Melmetal actually runs protect. Like some variants of Melmetal run protect. Like I think the one team I used last time, I think it did have protect on it. No, not that one. I think it was like another one. I think it was actually this team here. Yeah, this team I had protect on it. But yeah, again, even with protection, you're not safe with Urshifu around. So yeah. And also Landorus can get capped as well by Wicked Blow too. So Intimidate drops don't really matter for Urshifu because he can just break through those because it doesn't care about the about stat drops. So it's free to Wicked Blow through it. And also Lando isn't really running Twist Scarf right now. So or isn't really running it as often. So it's free to Urshifu's not only free to hit it, but it's also free to outspeed it. So yeah, it's just a very dangerous mon. Just a very dangerous mon in my opinion. So yeah, again, I know my thoughts were kind of all over the place about Urshifu, but I would like to know what you guys think about it. Let me know if you think Urshifu is ban-worthy, and if you think that this mon will get suspect tested after Pheromosa, or do you think it'll be like a little bit after, like some other mons get checked first, like a Cinderace, and even Cinderace is more likely, maybe. I don't know. It's kind of off with Cinderace. I really do think Urshifu is more likely after Pheromosa. Again, it just feels very constricting with the Urshifu with team building, to kind of. But yeah, again, I'm done talking. If you guys enjoyed the video, please let me know in the please let me know, and also make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and yeah, again, check out my Discord and all my other links. They'll be down in the description. Again, trying to reach 400 subscribers, so I'd appreciate if you guys can help me, reach that goal. And yeah, again, let me know what you guys think, and yeah. So peace out.